Hello peeps, Averageteadrinker here, and today I'll be doing a video commentary style, just going over a 11 miss I did earlier today on stream. I know you guys have been asking for a commentary style video, just kind of going over my thoughts, my decision making for pack to pack and the bosses, and then little tips and tricks here and there throughout. So I'm going to try my best to just kind of talk in one go over the dungeon. Not sure how long it's going to be. I might cut to different packs if there's downtime. We'll see. But yeah, it's been long requested, so here it is. My gear at the time was around 623. I just upgraded my weapon to 639, my cloak to 619, and my ring to 626 after the key. So now we're nearly 625, which is quite nice. I do have a flask gun currently, the alchemical one, but my stats are around 24% haste, 67% mastery, and then I think it's around 14% crit as well. I would like to swap a little bit of mastery for haste, so hopefully I'll get a better piece of gear to do that. But yeah, that's enough about the gear. Kind of going over the video, I'll go over my talents real quick and why I have taken them for this dungeon. I played this, which is the Ice Strike Fire Nova combo. A lot of the Enhancement Shamans are currently playing. Obviously you play down this side still, just because this side of the tree works so well with Stormbringer. Just playing your standard Stormbringer talents as well for AoE. I am opting to play Elemental Blast. The gist of it and the conditions mostly is just use your first charge on 4 wolves. And then with the second charge, you either use it before the 4 wolves expire or with as many wolves as you can. But mostly this build in the past, Fire Nova, would lack single target damage, but I feel like with the refunds and with playing with Ice Strike, it does kind of make up that single target difference it used to suffer with. So now you can't really feel it in comparison to playing, say, Hailstorm with Ice Strike. Not really too much single target difference, to me personally anyway. And I think it definitely warrants playing Nova and Keys because it just helps you cycle through and it's not as clunky to get your spenders off, I feel like. So yeah, that's enough about the talents. I'll be diving into the key now. Right, so coming into the key here, I'm going to be doing my pre-stacking. I've already got my Tempest tracker to be down to 7. So if I spend a Maelstrom stacks, 7 or more, I will instantly get another Tempest proc. I do this by popping Ascendants and Wolves and then just spamming Healing Surge until it gets down to between 1 and 9. So moving into this pool, generally standard pool here, I get my 2 Flame Shocks up, I spread with Lava Lash, Chain Lightning there just to get trimmed and get my Tempest proc. Into Ascendants, I'm, rather than Lightning Rod tab targeting with my spenders, either through Wind Strike or Chain Lightning and Tempest, I am just funneling down the Villager, quite a high priority target. Definitely could do more AoE damage here if I am spreading around my Lightning Rod, but yeah, I tend to just normally funnel down the Villager. Helped a lot get out there. I also didn't help him on the first Overgrowth, so it feels bad for him not being able to press his buttons. But yeah, maybe I should have paid more attention to his first Overgrowth. As we have a lock, we're going to do the gate skip. If you don't have a lock, you can either pre-soothe on the left. I actually did a video on this, but quick TLDR, if you have a trap ability and an invis drop on a class, they can just trap, poly, and then they run past first, they invis, and then yeah, you all run past, they then drop combat, and jobs are good. And you're basically skipping as you would a gateway. So here, we're pulling these packs together. I haven't normally done this. I think this is just to try get it on the +2 timer. This is all in a pug group. I was doing this just to reroll my key. In regards to the AoE rotation, my main kind of goals and checklists is Primordial Wave always tries to be lined up with Tempest. Now that Tempest stacks, I'll want to be always trying to send the Arc Discharge procs because 1, they're free. I'm always trying to send them out at least 5 Maelstrom plus as well. And yeah, it's not something you need to worry about anymore in terms of Tempest being overwritten. I mean, obviously you can overwrite 2 with 3, but it's very rare to do that. And if you are paying attention to your Tempest proc, you'll know you have a stack, and if you're close to another one, you need to just send it. With the Bramblethorn mobs here, they can be quite annoying. You just need to kind of be moving on the case when they drop their slow things on the floor. The weekly affix, as you can see, got buffed recently. It now does 50% CDR, and they reverted the shield on it, so it's actually really handy. More ascendance throughout the dungeon, which is feels good. For the first boss here, I've just got my focus kick macro up on the main boss. I'm putting my initial lashing flames on it, and I'm just funneling down the Droman, because once he gets to 20%, he's going to make the main boss take increased damage. I believe it's 300%. You'll normally want to save lust for this. You don't want to lust the first pack, because now that the plus 10 keystone is tyrannical and fortified, you definitely need it for the tyrannical bosses, your lusts most of the time. So I tremored the fear there. I've got a Tempest stack, I've got my trinket, I've got ascendance, and I am just manually spending my Tempest proc. So what I mean by that is I am pressing lightning bolt rather than pressing wind strike and letting it consume. And you see the amount of damage I'm getting here. Look how many wolves I managed to flood through with lust and everything. Nearly 5 million damage. I know we have an augmentation of Evoker, but I had really good resets here. Probably the most damage I have done. It'd even be a lot of damage outside of Aug. So yeah, Aug just makes it look slightly better with Augflation. Don't roast me too much in the comments. But yeah, the gist was going into that damaging phase, you're generally always going to get the fear, so you'll want to tremor that. You'll always want to keep kicks up on the main boss. Focus down Droman. Save at least your Primordial Wave if you can, and the Tempest just going into the damaging phase. So again, here I've saved both of them, getting it down to 20%. It triggers. It's now going to trigger the damage phase. I've got that lined up straight away, instantly chunk the boss. Got another Tempest, going to pop wolves just for good measure. Probably didn't need to. And yeah, then another Tempest because we got the RP. We've got to get through the gateway here. Well, just the gate. We've got to run down the hill. May or may not have run out of my Tempest buff. So if you're not sure, it's always good to just send it. But throughout the maze, there's not really too much in terms of dangerous mobs, I would say. You never really want to stand in the pools as melee. They did kind of make these slightly more annoying for melee this time around, but the expel is always going to target the range. And yeah, you just want to blast, not stand in the blue pools. You want to just be cycling through, as you can see here. I'm using my arc discharge procs. I'm saving that Tempest. I have my trinket available. I've got Primwave coming up for this pack. And with these as well, these mobs, it's kind of safe to spread your lightning rod. So you'll see me just tab targeting. I'll be lava lashing just to get Maelstrom, just to send my arc discharge procs on at least 5. Generally pressing lava lash. Not as much needed anymore. I think it's just something I have kind of trained my brain to do, is just tab target and get lashing flames up, just because of all the other seasons we've been doing it. So most of the time I am just pressing lava lash on different targets and trying to get lightning rod up on as many as you can. Unless, of course, there's a really high priority target like at the start, where I just send all my lightning rods and my funnel into that mob. Then here I saved my Tempest. I spread my flame shocks around, sent it with P-Wave, got lightning rod and everything, and now I'm just manually trying to spend when I get a Tempest proc, and not trying to consume it with Wind Strike, which I have done, and I have done quite often. So don't feel like you're... I mean, it does kind of gimp your damage a bit, but it's not the end of the world if you do end up munching a proc and sending it with 5 Maelstrom stacks with Wind Strike instead of manually spending it. But yeah, the general rule is try to always at least manually spend it with at least 8+ Maelstrom weapon stacks. And as you may or may not have noticed, every pack I have essentially P-Wave going in and a Tempest proc. It's kind of semi not realistic. Well, I mean, it is realistic this week because you can line it up this way. It just makes it slightly easier this week just because of the CDR affix. So you're going to be able to rotate at least, possibly even 3 P-Waves in a pack, depending on when the affix spawns. Because on some of the 11s and 12s I've done, I've managed to get 2 P-Waves off in a pack. So with the 50% reduction, you may even be able to get 3, depending on how long the mobs live for. Just in regards to single target, because you're kind of seeing what I'm doing here, I'm just always sending the arc discharge free chain lightnings with at least 5. Always trying to keep Tempest up. I'm going to skip to Mistcaller just to kind of go over more of the single target side of things. Yeah, this is mostly a tank mob anyway. You just need to dodge your breath. So for Mistcaller, generally you know you're in a pretty good mist run if you don't have Lust coming into this. So as you can see, we got at least 4 minutes left. Single target, I tend to always try to send Tempest at 8+. I don't really like sending it with 6 if I have other generators available. Normally I will press, you know, a Storm Strike, an Ice Strike, or a Lava Lash just to get the Tempest more hard hitting. With this fight, you can use Earth Grab Totem just to kind of keep the Vulpin CC'd, and use Capacitor Totem as well. As always, you always want to be focusing down the Void affix just to get the CDR. I'm sure you all know how to do the minigame, so I won't go over that. I tend to save AG for one of them, and then I use Astral on the next phase. And then with the third one, I'll just pop Stone Bulwark Totem. So you can always have something up for the damaging phases. Speaking on the rest of the single target, it's spend 5, 6+ Maelstrom stacks if you have nothing else available. If you don't have Tempest, you want to be using your generators, Ice Strike, Lava Lash, and Storm Strike, just to get yourself enough to be able to spend. You see here, I'm popping my Ascendants. Still got a good amount of HP percentage to get down to 10%, so I thought may as well pop it rather than holding it for the pack downstairs. Get my wolves out before I start casting other things, because you always want to try get your wolves out before you're pressing your big hitting abilities like Belly Blast and Tempest, unless they're running out, of course. Yeah, that pretty much sums up the boss fight and the single target kind of thought process I go through. Essentially, I think a lot of people are overcomplicating the rotation. It is just spending Tempest as much as you can, and spending Maelstrom weapon stacks as much as you can, and just using your generators to do those 2 things. That's essentially it in black and white terms. Skip down here, we get the respawn point. We pull this Staghorn pack, I believe, to the right as well. I did play with the lock before, so I know he's a pretty solid player. This is all pugs. 12s are incredibly rough, honestly. Here, I am always trying to get a kick, or putting it on my focus kick, the Staghorn, just to stop the shield or the regen it does, where it emits AoE damage and regens. As you can tell, I'm keeping my Tempest until my P-Wave came up. I was just cycling through Chain Lightnings there. Again, I'm going to be doing the same thing, pressing Fire Nova. You can see the power of Fire Nova. You may have noticed throughout this dungeon, like, just instantly puts you up to 7, 8 stacks of Maelstrom, just so you can cycle through to your Tempest quicker. You can get your stacks of Maelstrom weapon to get harder hitting arc discharge procs. Here, again, got P-Wave. I've got 4 Maelstrom until my next Tempest proc, so I can just instantly send a Chain Lightning here. Got a Tempest. I'll just build up to as much Maelstrom stacks as I can there. So I pressed Ice Strike and then sent the Tempest on 10 stacks. As always, you do want to be sending your Tempest with as many stacks as you can. And yeah, I think you're kind of getting the gist of it. I'm just sending through Arc Discharge because you don't really need to worry about Tempest stacking or munching anymore because we have Tempest stacking. With the Reavers, you can use Poison Cleansing Totem. It's quite handy. If you're a dwarf, you can also dwarf it. It does help the healer out. With the, I believe it's the Staghorn, they do Acid Nova. Pop defensives for this, pop AG, pop Bulwark. It does quite a lot of damage and it's on everyone, so the healer does kind of have their hands cut out for them in terms of what he has to heal. Here, I'm being a little bit greedy. I'm holding onto this Tempest proc until they were all stacked right there. Then I popped Descendants when everything was grouped, because obviously it does splash damage around you, so you kind of want to be situated in amongst of everything. The tank did really well as well in terms of aggro. I've been having a lot of issues with aggro and tanks just because of how I'm now playing our class. Just to interrupt that, you saw me basically using all my CC. I popped AG. You can see us blasting at least 350k there. We had the Acid Nova going off. We've got Reavers. We've got the Volatile Acid on people. There's just a lot of damage going out. So any CC, any sort of healing you can do just to help the healer out and yourself and the group, definitely worth doing so. Popping that Poison Cleansing Totem for the poison debuffs from the Reavers. For this last boss, it is a bit annoying as melee. I'm not going to lie to you. Again, just opening up as you normally will with the opener. I'm moving to the tank because the first set of pools, you can always just group it up as best you can. In a perfect world, and probably in people who play in groups, they would always try stack together and then move as a group in the same direction, because then you're going to really limit the amount of poo puddles all over the floor in this room. But playing in pugs, it's a whole different kettle of fish, honestly. And as you see here, I'm kind of just dipping in and out of that circle. If you hover around right at the edge of the circle, you can actually still hit the boss. So definitely something you can min-max there. Yeah, I saved Astral as soon as I saw the boss moving towards the middle and he was going to do the consumption phase. We removed the shield, blasted through that with the Tempest and the Ellie Blast. Yeah, it's essentially the fight. You want to always dodge a different direction with the poison puddles which come down and fire at you. Right here, I set up a juicy Tempest with Prim Wave, and I spread the Lava Lash and Flame Shocks on all the little lads and just deleted them. So these are the sort of power things you can do with Tempest and Primordial Wave. You can just absolutely blow trash and mobs up. And it's quite nice killing them all kind of at the same time because you group all of these little green pools together. Apologies if you heard my phone there. I should probably have put that on silent before I started recording. But yeah, saving something, I popped AG here for the second consumption. I don't believe I have consume. I don't believe I have Bulwark Totem. I've used it already. Most likely for me standing in the poop. I'm just going to skip ahead here because I feel like you guys will probably get the gist. So we end up killing the boss. We end up then killing a Void Affix because it spawns afterwards. And then already spoke over all this. Was just the last trash pack of the dungeon. We're actually very close to a +3. We did +2 it, so I actually gained +2 points. Even though I'd already +2 this dungeon, we just did it in a better time. And as you can see there, we did 2.6 million damage. Essentially, we were absolutely blasting. Miss is a really good dungeon for enhancement. I think this dungeon pool for season 1 was made for Shaman. There's so many curse dispels and poison dispels, and not too many massive pulls, so it's a good time to be a Shaman main. I hope this did kind of help you gain a little bit of insight to my decision making. I know I been rambling and probably not making too much sense, but hopefully you can take away something from me just mumbling about this key. As always, if you want to catch me live and ask me questions, you can follow the Twitch. You can join the Discord to get notified when I do go live. And I also have a Discord channel purely for enhancement questions and UI questions. So if you have anything, fire them in there. Almost forgot. I'll quickly show my breakdown, because you're probably wondering what the breakdown was. So as you can see, it was mostly Tempest and then Chain Lightning, which will be just us cycling through in AoE, and also always using the Arc Discharge procs. Lightning Bolt's about right. Lightning Rod, I would say you want it between like 10 and 14%, depending on how heavy of a priority target dungeon it is. Mist, I could definitely get this number higher. Ellie Blast normally sits around like 4 to 6% for me, so not too bad here. And then these two are about the same. So that's, I would say, your general breakdown for Mists. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to send a like. Most likely this will be my last video before I go away on holiday. I probably will do another one of these videos in the future. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.